Hi everyone, I'm Olia, breathwork coach, and I'm also a skier. I'm actually not gonna talk about skiing and breathing the whole time wearing this outfit, but I'm kind of ready to go. I love skiing. This is my recent hobby. I've been skiing for 4 or 5 years, but I've been an athlete my whole life. So what I've discovered being a breath coach and a newbie skier, that the way you breathe really changes your endurance and your performance and your recovery. So by changing a couple of things, you can improve oxygenation of all your muscles, improve it by 20%, and therefore improve your overall performance. So as a newbie skier and breathwork coach, I want to share some of my findings and some of the tips with you. So stay with me for the whole duration of this video. I'll talk about a little bit of science, what happens, why skiing and breathing is challenging, what makes it more challenging, and where to start, how to improve it. So first of all, what makes skiing challenging? Well, we're skiing at the higher altitude. Some of the ski resorts like Breckenridge or Zermatt, it's over 12,000 feet, really high up. We get there often enough, we just let's go ski. We don't really give ourselves a break to adjust, to acclimate to higher altitude. So some of us get a little bit of sickness, the altitude sickness. And at high altitude, the effect on human body can be quite significant. So the amount of oxygen is actually the same at the higher altitude as it is at the sea level, but because the air pressure is so much lower, the molecules of gas are so much more spread out that we have to inhale more to get the same amount of oxygen. So by practicing conscious breathing and most effective breathing, we can exercise and make sure that each inhalation, each breath is the most effective and we're not over breathing. Conscious breathing, functional breathing is something that you can practice with some breath holds. At the end of this video, I will tell you a simple exercise you can start with. But before we do this, I'll jump into the next challenge I can think of when you ski. So the second thing is that skiing is a great workout. It's a workout for the whole body. And for those who like to ski but not exactly are gym goers or don't perform any other aerobic exercises, kind of struggle because there's so much about cardio and the form and conditions and other factors would affect you, including high altitude, that not being in a good shape um, is just challenging. But it's so much fun to ski, especially going out there with friends, breathtaking views. So we all want to do that, but not everybody is ready for it. Third thing is, for myself as a newbie, and I also have a little bit of fear of heights. For me, when I'm out there looking down and it's a steep hill, and sometimes I don't even know where I'm getting myself into, when all the way up and it's all black runs and not even that great. So that fear and anxiety um, tightens my muscles. So I get stiff. I start breathing in much more of like shallow pattern, faster breathing, over breathing. Just think about it. When you're stressed, when you experience fear and anxiety, what happens to your breath? It listens to your brain and becomes shorter, and um, it makes your muscles, especially chest muscles, tighten. So when that happens, uh, and it's probably pretty cold out there, you start going down the hill, your muscles are too tight, your diaphragm is probably not working because your breath is shallow, and your breath is shallow, the largest breathing muscle is not moving like a pump. So now there's more oxygen needed to support our breath that's happening in the chest level. So our legs get a little bit more tired. Our form is not as great, and we're more prone to hurt ourselves, to fall, to lose the form, and make a mistake on that next turn. And skiing being a really fun activity also has après ski, which is another really fun activity, and we all absolutely love that. But what happens, like, we skied all day, and here we go to the bar, have a drink, and hanging out with friends, and we get home kind of late, maybe dinner, and just go straight to bed. We forget about stretching. Stretching is very important because it's easier for your body to recover. It's easier for your body to go into another day and uh, avoid that injury what could have happened. So that's another challenge. Just as an activity that has so much to offer, it's just so much fun and everything around it. Upper ski yoga or upper ski stretching should be the thing what you do. But yes, we avoiding stretching very often, which is super important. That's another challenge. So what can we do with all those challenges of high altitude, of a full body workout, of too many other activities that's happening after and we're not stretching, and potentially fear? So all these things, all these challenges, what can we do? One of the first things what you can do is to observe your breath, how you breathe. Do you use your diaphragm? Do you breathe with your mouth more than you breathe with your nose? All these things are very important. You can try to close your eyes and just relax your face, relax your jaw, and observe how your breath is happening. Do you prone to opening your mouth, or do you feel that strong desire to open your mouth when you breathe? Do you often have respiratory issues and that's why you open your mouth? Did someone ever tell you that you snore at night and that's probably because you are a mouth breather? They're all those things. It's good to observe, to understand, so we can properly correct it. One of the first things what you can practice is nasal breathing. So why nasal breathing? Nasal breathing simply makes you healthier, provides better sleep, and sleep is essential for good health. It filters the air which you inhale. It's cleaner, it's more moist, it's warmer. So that's why it's actually one of the reasons why some of the athletes struggle with respiratory issues, because uh, of mouth breathing. So nasal breathing is difficult to start and practice, but it's possible and it really improves your performance. It balances the levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen in our body, and it allows more oxygen to reach our tissues, our muscles, and that really improves our performance. Lower intake of air and the balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen is being controlled through the nasal breathing much more effectively than through the mouth. When we dive into the science too much more to make you all confused, but nasal breathing basically thermoregulates um, metabolic rates, our endocrine system, our blood circulation. It, like I said, filters all the bacteria. And the shallow and fast breathing really affects the level and the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in our body. And it basically prevents your diaphragm of working properly. And diaphragm is a very important muscle. And when it's not working properly, it affects your core, affects your stability. And as I mentioned before, for proper skiing, for good form, for faster skiing, for being strong and comfortable making those quick turns, you need your core stability. And diaphragm is one of those very important things that you can train. And when you breathe with your nose, you are for the most part using your diaphragm. So this is one of the main and most important things why nasal breathing supports training of our diaphragm and therefore supports our core stability and our form during exercising. Athletes do still need to breathe through their mouth, but it's the goal to reduce mouth breathing to as little as possible. You can observe a lot of athletes, for example, tennis player Novak Djokovic, for example, he trains and he believes in nasal and conscious breathing when other athletes will be um, breathing and kind of running for that air, for that extra breath to get more oxygen to their body. You can see that his mouth is closed most of the time. So a lot of athletes go through this nasal breathing and conscious breathing training. Another thing what you can exercise is, like I mentioned, functional conscious breathing. When you're really sensitive to levels of carbon dioxide increase or decrease, your performance, your hunger for air will happen faster and affect your exercise routine, affect your skiing in this case. So you can train your breathing muscles. You can, just like any other muscles, and that's kind of a beauty of breath work, because technically it's controlled by our autonomous nervous system and we don't have to think about it, but we can also train it to improve our health and improve our performance. So some simple exercise, when you inhale on the count of 4 and then you hold your breath for 4 and then you exhale for 4, and you can do it for about 10 minutes. You can start with 5, go to 10 if you have time. You can also do inhale on 4, hold for 4, exhale, and hold for 4 at the bottom. So 4, 4, 4, 4. Just imagine the square shape. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. But start with inhalation, hold for 4, exhalation for 4, and then inhalation again. Couple different ways to do that, but basically by holding the breath, it really trains your body to be less sensitive to the levels of carbon dioxide um, in your body. So try to do that for a certain amount of time, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Just do it on a regular basis and see how and what changes in your performance. So that's exactly what happened to me when I started practicing. First, it was kind of like, okay, I'm just going to be consistent and do that. But when I would do cardio workouts, I was like, oh, I actually just did the same workout for 30 minutes and I feel fantastic. Same with the skiing. I could ski for 3, 4, 5 hours with very short breaks, and I feel good and my legs are very stable. It's like, well, first maybe it's just because I do my cardio, I do my exercise routines, but that's not it. Really, breath work and training nasal breathing and conscious breathing allows you to be a better athlete, better skier. So observe your breath, practice nasal breathing, and functional conscious breathing with simple exercise 4, 4, 4, 4, inhalation with hold, exhalation and hold. If you want more practices, follow my channel. So let's get on the slopes, let's enjoy the season and feel healthier, feel beautiful. If you have any questions, type word energy under this video. I'll be happy to talk to you, ask questions, and let's be friends.